Hey, it's Mark Donegan here. Founders often tell me the middle stretch of building a company feels like survival mode. But Scott Belsky's data says otherwise. It's where you actually develop the resilience that defines long-term success. We love to celebrate the launch and the exit, but the truth is, the messy middle is where leadership gets forged. Having guided dozens of B2B tech companies through that stage, I've seen how the right mindset makes all the difference. In today's conversation, Tim and I dive into how to push through uncertainty without losing your drive or your vision.
Tune in, listen up, it's marketing time. Bright ideas sparking, growing your mind. From strategies to big exec dreams, catch the buzz and join the execution. Marketing Convo.
Welcome to the Marketing Execution Podcast. This is the show for tech founders and leaders building B2B products and technologies. We show you how to go further, faster to get the business results you need.
From strategies to big exec dreams, catch the buzz and join the execution. Marketing Convo.
You know, Mark, I was thinking about all the founder stories we hear on podcasts, in articles. It's always the same. There's the dramatic garage to glory beginning, and then boom, the billion-dollar exit at the end. They always skip the middle part.
Oh, they skip it on purpose because the middle is where the magic isn't. It's just a slog. Scott Belsky calls it the messy middle, and it's the most important part of the journey. We romanticize the start and the finish, but the middle is just this long, drawn-out period of ups and downs, constant uncertainty, and frankly, it's not very fun.
Right. It feels like you're just lost in a maze. So the first big idea for founders listening is just to accept that, to know that the road forward isn't a straight line.
Exactly. You have to embrace it instead of trying to avoid it. The biggest trap founders fall into is looking for simple, easy fixes when things get tough. They want to patch over a problem to just feel a sense of progress. But Belsky argues, and I've seen this 100 times, that patching over those problems is where you miss the truly original ideas that could make your business stand out. You have to live in that uncertainty.
But how do you operate in that? I mean, living in uncertainty sounds paralyzing. If you don't have clear answers, how do you stop the whole company from just grinding to a halt?
That's the million-dollar question. And it leads to a concept that I think is even more dangerous than the technical debt everyone talks about. Belsky calls it organizational debt.
Organizational debt. Okay, unpack that point.
So technical debt is when you use a sloppy, quick fix in your code, knowing you'll have to pay it back later with more work. It's a conscious trade-off. But organizational debt is it's sneakier. It's the buildup of all the hard decisions you avoid making. It's the underperforming employee you don't fire because you hate conflict. It's the outdated process you keep using because changing it would be a pain.
Oh, wow. So it's the people and process problems you shove under the rug.
Yes, and it compounds. I once heard of a startup founder who kept the sales lead on for a year longer than he should have. The guy was toxic, but he occasionally closed a deal, so the founder avoided the hard conversation. By the time he finally let him go, the culture was so damaged, it took another year to fix. That's organizational debt. It's a slow poison, and you pay for it with momentum and morale.
That's terrifying. So if you're battling this messy middle and you're trying to pay down this organizational debt, how on earth do you keep your team motivated? It sounds like a formula for burnout.
It is a formula for burnout if you don't do the next part right. You have to become your own company's best marketer internally. You need to constantly market your vision to your team. This isn't about fluff. It's about relentless communication.
So you mean like internal advertising?
Sort of, yeah. Think slogans, graphics, Regular updates that aren't just numbers on a spreadsheet, but that highlight team achievements and point to the next milestone. You have to make progress visible, especially when external validation, like massive customer growth or profit, just isn't there yet. That's why on the Marketing Execution podcast, we're always talking about execution. This is execution.
And it keeps them focused on the right things, I guess, because the temptation must be to just work on the easy stuff to feel productive.
The temptation is huge. Your team will want to spend all day fixing fonts and color schemes on an app instead of tackling the core functionality bug that's a nightmare to solve. It's human nature. We want the dopamine hit of a finished task. Belsky has a great rule for this. Force your team to spend 80% of their time on the most important goals, the big, hairy, difficult problems. Only then can they work on the other 20%. You have to be disciplined about it.
Okay, this is a fantastic roadmap for the middle. Embrace the maze, kill organizational debt, market internally, and apply the 80-20 rule. But what if it works? What if you actually survive the messy middle and you see the finish line? Is it just smooth sailing from there?
God, no. Not at all. In fact, that's maybe the most dangerous part. The pitfalls of success are just as real as the struggles of the middle. When you're about to bring that product to market or a huge company comes in with an acquisition offer, the first thing you have to do is slow down.
Wait, slow down when you're at the 1-yard line? That sounds completely counterintuitive.
It is. But your instincts are all wrong at this stage. You're emotional, you're exhausted. Some founders even unconsciously sabotage their own success because they don't feel worthy of it, or their ego gets so big they stop listening to anyone. You need to stay humble, remember the team and the lucky breaks you got, but also get outside advice. The skills that got you there are not the skills that will get you across the finish line gracefully.
So the final chapter of the journey requires a totally different mindset.
A completely different one. You have to go from a wartime general to a peacetime diplomat almost overnight. And a lot of founders can't make that switch. They rush the final decisions, they alienate their team, and they stumble right before the end. Surviving the messy middle is one thing. Finishing well is another skill entirely.
Wow. That idea that finishing is its own complex skill, that's profound. Okay, that actually gives me an idea. You mentioned the different skill sets for different stages. Let's pivot for a second and talk about the founders themselves. What does this mean for hiring your own replacement as CEO?
It's funny you ask that because I think that decision, hiring your own replacement, is the single greatest test of a founder's self-awareness. It's the final exam of the messy middle in a way. It means you finally understood that your job isn't to be the hero of the story. It's to make sure the story has a happy ending, with or without you in the lead role.
Whoa. So it's not really a succession plan. It's a strategic choice based on knowing your own limitations. That feels like a massive blind spot for most founders. They see themselves as the company.
They are the company in the beginning. That's the problem. But it can't stay that way. Look, self-awareness isn't some soft, fuzzy concept here. It is a hard strategic asset. Belsky talks about this, about how you have to know who you are and how you react under stress. Because your unprocessed emotions, they become the company's liabilities.
What do you mean by that? Give me an example.
Okay, so think about the two extremes. When things are going well, maybe you just landed a big client, you get a little media hit. Some founders get this overblown sense of their own genius. They develop what I call founder hearing loss. They stop listening to their team. They ignore data that doesn't fit their triumphant narrative. That overconfidence is deadly. It's how you miss the iceberg right in front of you.
And the opposite?
The opposite is even worse. When things are tough during a downturn, you become defensive. Suddenly, it's not your fault. It's the market's fault. It's that one engineer's fault. It's your co-founder's fault. I know of a founder, a brilliant product person, but anytime someone criticized a feature, he'd get prickly. He'd find a reason why their feedback was wrong. And guess what happened?
Oh man, I can guess. People just stopped giving him feedback.
Exactly. They stopped bothering, and the product development started happening in an echo chamber. His lack of self-awareness created a culture where honesty was punished. He couldn't see his own defensiveness, so he just saw a team that wasn't engaged. It's a total disaster.
Wait, hang on. So if you can't spot your own defensiveness, you definitely can't spot when your team is being defensive for the same reasons. He was probably just creating a bunch of mini-me's.
That's it. That's the whole point. And this brings us right back to hiring your replacement. The ultimate act of self-awareness is knowing, I am a chaos muppet. I thrive in the messy beginning. I am not the person to install boring, repeatable, scalable systems. You're not hiring a better version of you. You're hiring a different version of a leader for a different phase of the company. You're hiring the peacetime diplomat we talked about to take over from the wartime general.
It's so powerful when you put it that way, but you know as well as I do, that feels like a failure to a lot of people. It's a huge ego blow. To build this thing from nothing and then admit you're not the one to take it to the promised land, that's a tough pill to swallow.
I know it is. But we have to reframe that. That is not failure. That is the definition of success. Your job as a founder isn't to be CEO for 20 years. Your job is to ensure the mission you started actually succeeds, period. If that means handing the keys to someone who's an expert at flying the plane at 30,000 feet while you were the one who was a genius at building it on the ground, you didn't fail, you won. You loved the company more than you loved the title.
Okay, that reframes the entire succession conversation. It shifts it from an emotional decision to a purely strategic one. I love that. So let's get practical. If a founder is listening to this and nodding their head, what's the first tangible step they can take to actually start building this kind of self-awareness into their operating rhythm?
Tim, you're right. It's time to get our hands dirty. It's one thing to talk about this stuff. It's another to actually do it.
Yes, let's do it. I feel like founders are begging for a playbook here. Where do we start? What's action number one?
Okay, number one is super simple, but you have to do it. It's a personal, call it an emotional audit. Every Friday, you open a document and you write down just one hard decision you made that week.
Okay, a journal. I can do that.
It's not just a journal, it's a data log. You answer 3 questions. 1, what was the situation? 2, how did I feel making it? Was I defensive, excited, anxious? Be totally honest. And 3, what happened? Did my emotion help or hurt the outcome?
So you're not just writing, you're analyzing.
Yes, you're reviewing the game tape of your own leadership. After a few weeks, you'll see patterns. Wow, every time an employee questions the roadmap, I get defensive. That's not a problem with the employee. That's a problem with you. And now that you can see it, you can fix it.
That is so powerful. It's building a data set on yourself.
Think of a founder at a new B2B SaaS company. They get some tough user feedback. It feels like a personal attack. They write it down. 2 weeks later, same thing happens. Same feeling. Now it's not a random event. It's a pattern. The founder can start to separate the feedback about the product from their feelings about themselves.
Okay, I love that. So you start with yourself. What's next? How do you bring others in?
Great question. You can't just rely on your own audit. You need an outside perspective. That's step 2. Create a trusted truth teller council.
Sounds a little formal.
Because it's intentionally formal. You can't just hope for honest feedback. Tim, your team is paid by you. They're not going to tell you that your baby is ugly. So you find 2 or 3 people outside your company, an investor you respect, another founder, maybe even a mentor from a past job.
And what do you ask?
You are very direct. You phone them. You say, I need you to be my mirror. Once a month for just 20 minutes, I'll tell you my biggest challenge. Your job is to tell me what I'm missing. Your job is to call me out. Don't be nice, be helpful.
Ooh, you're actually giving them permission to be harsh.
Permission and a mandate. Look at how Slack started. Stuart Butterfield had this internal tool. He didn't just show it to friends and ask, is this awesome? Once real teams started using it, real behavior and real feedback shaped what Slack became. Because he knew the truth every founder eventually runs into. You're always too close to see everything clearly. Sometimes you need the outside perspective to see what you're missing.
I see. So get your own house in order, then build an external system for truth. What about the team? How do you get this honesty inside the company?
Yes, and this might be the most powerful one for the whole team. You run pre-mortem meetings. This idea is a total game changer.
A pre-mortem? So before death?
Exactly. Before the project dies. You get the team in a room for a big new launch and you say, okay, everyone, fast forward 6 months. This project has failed. It was a complete disaster. Now, on this sticky note, write down the single biggest reason why it failed and don't put your name on it.
Oh, so it's anonymous.
It has to be. It instantly kills the politics. An intern can say what a VP is thinking, but is too afraid to say. It also does something magical to your brain. It gives everyone permission to be critical, to spot real risks. It changes the focus from let's be optimistic to let's be paranoid. Can you give me an example of that? Sure. Let's imagine an AI company is about to launch a new predictive tool. In the premortem, an engineer writes down, the API will crash under heavy load. The marketing person writes, our pricing model is too confusing for anyone to understand. The sales lead writes, our sales team doesn't actually know who to sell this to. All of a sudden, the founder sees the real dangers, not just a happy talk. They can now fix those issues before they become company-killing problems.
That is unbelievable. An emotional audit, a truth teller council, and pre-mortems. Those are 3 things anyone listening can literally start doing tomorrow. This is pure gold. Mark, this has been amazing. We've gone from the high-level philosophy of the messy middle to these super concrete actions. Before we wrap, could you just summarize the whole journey for us, everything we've covered?
Whew, absolutely. Okay, so if we boil it all down, we started with this idea of the messy middle, that the real journey isn't the exciting launch or the big exit. It's the long, hard grind in between. It's about surviving uncertainty and setback. Then we got personal. We talked about how crucial self-awareness is. You can't lead your team through the mess if you don't understand your own emotional triggers. And finally, we made it practical. We laid out 3 concrete actions: the personal emotional audit to understand yourself, the trusted truth teller council to get an outside view, and the team pre-mortem to find the real risks before they kill you. It's a journey from mindset to action.
That's a perfect summary. So after all of that, after the mindset, the self-awareness, the actions, what's the single biggest illusion a founder has that all of this is designed to shatter?
The illusion that a brilliant plan will save you from the fight. It won't. The plan isn't the solution. The plan is just the ticket to the fight. Your success, your survival, it's decided by how you endure, adapt, and lead after you get punched in the mouth. That is the messy metal. The Marketing Execution Podcast is produced by Growth Stage Marketing. We are on a mission to see your company reach wild success using marketing pods.
Too big, accept dreams. Catch the buzz and join the execution. Marketing Convo.
Thank you for listening and being a part of the marketing execution movement and community. To learn how growth stage marketing clients reach more buyers and drive business impact, go to growthstage.marketing. That's growthstage.marketing.